Shoes on deck, beer on ice. Laced up clean, yeah, the vibe feels nice. Fuck you, Tony, said we wouldn't fly. Now we're running this mile high.
Yo, 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 happy fucking Wednesday. Welcome back to Shoes N Brews, the podcast. This is episode 4. It's a special edition with Ash. How you going, buddy?
Good, Scotty, mate. I'm fired up. Feeling really good. Middle of the week. It's good to throw a little surprise potty in here, but it's good fun, mate. How you going?
Mate, unreal. Yeah, I've had a cracking couple of weeks, but one of the highlights, and that's why we're doing a special edition, it was getting down to Canberra and seeing you do an absolute crazy challenge that you've set. So we'll get into that. But before we do, Shoes N Brews. Look, we've ended up with the same beer, but we didn't talk about it. But Ben spoke. But you could talk about this, whatever they did for you. But I turned up to watch, and she turned up with a case of beer. It was unreal. So you have to, shout out to Ben Spoke. But,
yeah, for sure.
Fuck you, Tony.
Fuck you, Tony. Shout out to Ben Spoke. They came on board to support Mo in the arena, and helped supply the my support crew with a bunch of beers, and then rocked up at the finish line. Unfortunately, probably took a bit longer on that last day than I thought, so the beers were sitting on the ice for a bit longer than we probably hoped. But huge shout out to Ben Spoke. They've been unreal, so they're happy to rip into it, mate. So
so mate, talk us through, like, I know we discussed briefly on the distances and what you were sort of doing and by day, but mate, how did it come about that you wanted to do the challenge?
Yeah, so last year I did an Ironman distance on the one day at my work. So just to turn back the time before I get into this year's challenge. So last year, I was feeling pretty good. It was the first year that I'd been asked to be a Movember ambassador, and to be honest, I sort of at the last minute put my challenge together amongst a whole bunch of other events and activities across the month. And so last year, the goal was literally just to do an Ironman, but to do an Ironman distance at my work. So at the AIS campus in Canberra, just to show people that, like, there's a pool, there's bikes in the gym, and like you can go running, and just like anyone, not to say that anyone can and should do an Ironman, but just to show that, like, we can connect through physical activity, and just remind people that, like, my work is working in sport, that it can be fun and we can use sport as a vehicle to, like, help change and save lives. And so last year, I was due to do the challenge on a Thursday, but I felt really ill the day before. Basically, I suffered from vertigo and had a panic attack, which we can get into. So I ended up in hospital that evening, or the night before I was meant to do the challenge. I ended up in hospital. I then let the challenge slide back a day. So I ended up going in on the Friday, not really telling anyone about it. And I just sort of went on my own pace, and I said, I'll see if I can get through the swim and feel okay. If I can get through the bike and feel okay. And then the problem with that was, as soon as I did one event or one activity on my watch, it sunk to Strava. And so people started to catch on that I was having a crack at it. So I ended up having a little bit of company, but nothing probably to the same scale that I thought it would be last year. And so ever since the events of sort of last year happened, and I should call out that 2 times you came on as a supporter last year of the event. So they provided me with a bunch of gear last year and again this year. And ever since they came on board, I just sort of had in my head anyway, their name, and thought, 2 times you. I wonder if I did 2 times the challenge. And without even thinking too much about it, because I don't really do that, I was just like, I'll just put it out there, and I'll do an Ultraman this year. So the sort of handshake agreement that I know I've touched on a little bit in the earlier podcast, but the deal that I sort of made with myself was, if we could have a good break off the booze, so I stopped drinking from the 12th of January until the challenge, that I would have a red hot crack at an Ultraman this year. That's sort of how the idea came about. And then 3-day. I've never done a multi-day event, nor anything really of those distances. So we'll get into the distances in a sec, I'm sure. But yeah, it was really just to like put this big scary challenge out there and then get after it and get people to come around me and help me get there. So that's sort of how it came to be. If you ask me right now to what does next year look like, the honest answer is it definitely can't be bigger. I think I need to probably have a break from doing a crazy physical challenge next year, but there's still 360 odd days before next November. So,
Oh dear.
so yeah, that's sort of the last 12 months, and now I got to the challenge, mate. But yeah, and then like just by talking about like your life goals and ideas, like you get a bit of everything from you're bloody crazy to that's inspiring and everything else in between. So it started a lot of conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah. The thing that comes across my mind and to do an event like this, and you need the support of family and friends and things, but to see your family there, your mum and dad were there. I think they were there all day. I think, did your dad do 20K?
Oh, he must have. Yeah, well,
mate.
I think they must have done about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the support of that, your wife was there all day. Without them, it becomes nearly impossible to do. So
yeah, it is, and no, like it is like definitely on the event days. Event days are one part where like you need people. You need people around to logistically, give you food and drinks and help, fill up water bottles and like just help with the coordination of some stuff. But like that's probably the piece that like that iceberg piece that everyone sees, and it means a lot. Even to have them there on the day, I think it means a lot to them as well. But then like I don't know about. I'm sure most people who do stupid events like this are probably pretty similar. That in the lead up to the event, like I'm pretty annoying to be around. Like I'm pretty pedantic about. Like I'm not too pedantic about every detail, but I get that I'm pretty stressful to be around, and so I get that has a ripple effect on other people, right? So even just to be like a supporter before the event and after the event and during it, it's the week before the challenge, I was the support group pretty much for the first time ever when my wife did her first half marathon. And I was like, oh, this just takes on a world of its own being, a supporter on a 1 day, couple of hour event, let alone to do it up to a 12-month planning event. So love them all for coming down to help me out like it. And I think, them being part of it also, like being there on the day and seeing it come to life and the conversations they have and what it means to them is just as powerful as actually doing the challenge for me. So,
yeah. So it's actually funny. We'll go back to, I met your mum. I think I met your mum about 20 years ago, just through work and doing some other stuff. So that was quite funny having a chat with her. But let's go through the first day. Tuesday, first day, swim 10K, jump off, ride 140. Let's go through the swim, mate.
Yeah.
What was going through your head, and shout out to anyone that came and swam or helped out. And
so that the night before, I must say the whole thing leading up to it, I hadn't been really any nerves, and I know that might sound really crazy because like even for small events or things that rocking up to a barbecue where I'm talking for 5 minutes, like the heart rate gets elevated. But I think because I'd invested the whole year getting ready for this, my nerves were like just super calm. So I woke up, that morning, had brekkie, feeling really good. And the funny part was it just felt like I was rocking up to work on any other day. So, I drove down, and then we swam in the testing pool, which is typically where like the elite crew, it's reserved pretty much for elite swimmers and squads and athletes that come to train. And so never swam in there before. And we had, so to start, there was 4 of us that jumped in. So shout out to JB. He did the full 10K. Mark, one of our super fish swimmers at work, I think he clocked up nearly 13Ks in the day. And one of the other boys who I hadn't met before, who runs an outdoor, like a wild swimming group here in Canberra, Toddy, he was there as well. So, we started the morning, jumped in. The funny part about that was when we rocked up and they let us into the pool, there was actually, so we had 3 or 4 lanes booked, but the rest of the pool was full of this elite swimming crew. And they must have just been thinking, who are these average punters? Like, how did they get in here? So yeah, the felt really good start in the pool. Like the having never swam in there, it was like a bit deeper, and it's it's like every pool's a little bit different, but it's a bloody beautiful pool to swim in. So the first 2 kilometers felt cherry ripe, like absolutely just perfect, and then. My sort of goal in my head, like I didn't have any reminders on my watch or anything like that. I was just sort of doing it to feel. But my goal was to stop every sort of 40, 45-ish minutes and have some food and drink. So after I stopped at about 2 to 2.5 Ks, that was all good. And then sort of from 2.5 Ks to 4 Ks, I was like, I had this moment of realization, like, oh shit, I'm really in this thing now. And that's probably the piece that extends across the whole challenge is like, between 20 and 40% into each day, you're far enough past the start line, but you're a bloody long way from the finish line. And so I don't know if at that point I was like, oh, I'm really in this thing now. But then after I had a break at about, I don't know, 4.5 Ks or something like that, I'd never actually swam more than 4 Ks before. And but after 4, I was just got into this really nice rhythm, ticking it over. Like it was about 2 minute per 100 pace. Like it wasn't, no world records were set, which is fine. And then probably the final 1.5 K was a bit slow going, just like battling to get it done. But really proud. Like to finish 10 Ks, like I sort of said in my head, if I can get out of the pool, I feel really good. Like I just know I feel good because that's one huge chunk behind me. I think I probably downplayed that it is like a marathon swim. So I think across the crew we had like after our crew started, we had a bunch of other people come down. So we had like Cam, Murph, Richard. So I think in total we probably clocked over 50 or 60 Ks as a crew, which none of us are like actually probably even more than that. Might even be 60 to 80, something like that. But as a crew that don't swim every day, and then we just had a bite to eat, and then I was feeling really confident for day one on the bike. I was like, 140 Ks. It's like just sitting there. It's all good. So I went up and basically got on the bike by myself, and I was ready to put some basketball on and put some tunes on. And within honestly about 5 or 6 minutes, I had just one person after the next come up and say, "Hey, do you mind if I want some company? Do you mind if I sit with you?" And then like just almost unexpectedly through that first day, I had company the whole time. It just sort of caught me by surprise that people unofficially like were part of it without even sort of telling me they were coming. And so got to the end of day one. I think in total it was about 4.5, 5 hours. Probably like nearly a 9-hour day. But I definitely felt the most emotional that night because it felt like a huge chunk was behind me. I still knew I had a lot to go, but I felt like if I could get through day one, then the rest I could get through. So, I think mentally it was just this release on the Monday night. I actually, had a few tears and I was pretty excited, but then knew I had to get some sleep in to go again the next day. So, and like that was like my second longest ride ever, my longest swim ever in one day. I was like, oh, okay, better get some shut eye now. So,
So before that, so there was the longest swim over.
Yep.
So you did Ironman Cairns, but so was it your longest swim past 3.8?
Yeah. I did. I think I did a training swim before Ironman, which was like 4.1 Ks maybe or 4 Ks. But so this is like 2.5 times that, right?
Yeah.
And then my longest ride previously was I did 2 lots of 180 Ks. So I've done Ironman Cairns and I did my Ironman challenge last year. But I hadn't. Other than that, it's pretty much the max ride is about 100 Ks. So still right up there, just on one day.
And to do it on a trainer as well is just different.
Yeah.
I know going back to my Ironman days is what you go and do 180, 200 on a Saturday. It was just but sitting for that long on a trainer, I don't know how you.
And
I don't know how you did 140, let alone 280 the next day.
Well, but I sort of like because I've done so many kilometers on a trainer. I pretty much solo train inside now in terms of bike training, and I have for years. I feel like broken down the mental barriers with riding on a trainer. Like I feel almost like 0 to 50 is like nice little hit out. Then 50 to 100 is like probably almost the weekend, and then anything north of 100, just like it's like free fair game sort of stuff. But yeah, in my mind, I was like, if I get to 100, then the last hour and a bit, we'll just roll it over and get it done and get through. So yeah, and then like night one, I was mentally probably the most exhausted just because of all the build up and all the prep and having gear and all that stuff out. But then I had dinner and conked out like I was out. I think at 8 o'clock that night, and yeah, then basically get back for day 2, which was 280 k's on the trainer, in the same spot, in the same gym, looking at the same stuff for basically 10 hours on the dot. So it's a long couple of days on the bike, and to be honest, I haven't even set my bike back up yet. It's just in a pile in the garage at the moment.
I did put that post up as like, are you going to hop back on the bike first or you run first? And it was definitely run.
Well, yeah, I must say after the bike, I messaged one of the other Movember ambassadors. So she sat on a bike for 24 hours last year, and I said to her, like, mate, I've got no idea how you did that. I think her response was something to the effect of, I still haven't sat on a bike since. So I don't think she's far off it either. So,
right, that's crazy. So what sort of mate, I turned up on the Wednesday for 20 minutes or so and saw you on the bike, and you had your full esky there. So what sort of drinks and food were you craving and tuck into?
Yeah, I spoke to 2 sport dietitians before the challenge, and I had like a written plan on a page, and I just wanted to validate, like, was it on the money? And the main like guesswork that I'd done was the overnight segment, because I hadn't really done the multi-day stuff before. Like I'd done a long Saturday ride and then a long Sunday run before, but never multiple days. And so yeah, pretty much for the swim, I just had Precision Fuel and Hydration. I had their gels and some of their like carb mix in bottles in the pool, and that was really good. Like I didn't want, you don't want to feel super heavy or bloated or whatever when you swim. And then when I got out of the pool, I had some like actual real food. So in the esky, I just had like a smorgasbord of options of everything from like I had handmade some wraps, like just some Vegemite wraps and pretzels. I had a bunch of lollies and gels and all the sports drinks you can imagine. Bit of Coke, bit of ginger beer, bit of all that stuff. But then had some real food, like even really basic stuff, just like a muesli bar, like just something to change the flavor in my mouth. So I found back when I did Ironman Cairns that I found this crew up in Queensland called Infinite Nutrition, and I really liked their product when I first tried it, because it basically it was really simple. Like if you have one bottle an hour, it's got all the gear in one bottle. And because at that point I hadn't ridden 180 k's and I was a bit worried about the Ironman, it just removed a really big part of that stress for me around nutrition. So I've really liked their gear ever since, and that's all I use for the bikes. I literally had like one bottle per hour just made up in the esky of their gear, and then I just added on, like you don't have to add anything on top, but like if I wanted to change, if I wanted a hit of sugar with like Coke or ginger beer or some lollies or whatever, I just did that. And probably I normally don't ride with a fan with the trainer. I just like to really try to earn it when I'm on the trainer. And so the first day, pretty much rode without a fan in the gym. But then the second day, some kind person put it on nice and early, and it just was an absolute blessing, because it was going to be a sweaty mess otherwise. So yeah,
it was a big ass fan blowing when I got there, and I'm thinking, mate, this is perfect. Every time, like I've hopped on the bike recently, just last month, and the stationary trainer as well, because my knee's fucked. But mate, I put the fan on every day. I just I reckon I'd rust the shit out of my bike if I didn't.
Well, I think I probably have, to be fair, but like I've got my trainer bike and another bike, but I basically packed this massive bag of spare towels and shirt, like change of bibs and all this gear. But then with the fan, I was like, man, I feel fresh as. And even people were saying to me, it's like, you don't even look like you're working out. And I was like, oh no, trust me, I'm working out. But yeah, so yeah, I sort of planned the food part well in advance, and then I kept it as simple as possible. Like in the morning and night, like I just had my normal brekkie, which is like the same every single day, pretty much all year
Yeah.
round. But then for dinner, like when I got home, probably the best one of the best tips one of the dietitians gave me. She's like, "Do you like chalky milk?" And I said, "Mate, like, are you crazy? Who doesn't love chalky
No.
milk?" And so,
Yeah.
she's like, "Okay, challenge is you've got to basically get 3 of those like protein chalky milks down before bed." And I was like,
Yeah.
absolutely, say less. I was like, absolutely, that's not what I'm saying. So
they're pretty thick and heavy.
yeah, oh,
But
yeah,
just
yeah, they were
bang.
easy. Yeah, so
Yeah.
because I actually said to him, I was like, "Oh, is it a pure calories game? Like, can I just basically eat what I want, or is there actually like nutritional value that I'm chasing?" And it's pretty much fuel, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd have a couple of chalky milks, and then I basically just made a massive bowl of like white rice, bit of mince, and some other gear on top of it. But kept it as simple as possible, just so I could actually get it down. Like, you know, it's like some days when you've had a big session and you got that much carbs and caffeine and stuff pumping around your body, you don't really feel like that you're that hungry. So yeah, that's it. That's doing pretty well. But I basically, to your point, like I just had this esky that I just basically dragged around for 3 days that
Yeah.
had everything I needed at any point in time. So because I just never knew, like, I had on the run, when obviously we were there for the run, which we'll get into in a sec, but like even having things like cheesy scrolls or 2-minute noodles, or just like, you just don't know what you're going to feel like. So I'd rather have that stuff after the fact and just sit it in the cupboard and not need it than not have it. So yeah.
Yeah, just try everything. But I remember a mate of mine he used to run ultras, like the 100K, 100-mile stuff, and I remember he pulled into a stop, and his wife opened the boot, and he just had the fucking. It was like opening up a supermarket. It's like fuck, and he just picks different things, and he said, "I don't know what I'm going." It's just whatever food you can get in at that point, I reckon.
Yeah, and like the dietitian framed it really well to me. Like, there's no good food and no bad food. You've just got to see it as fuel. And not. I think it might have even been Phil Gore, the ultra runner. He put something up similar-ish on Insta where it was like, there's just a smorgasbord, and you come in, you don't know what you're gonna need, so you get what you need. And again, it's not good or bad. Like, it's serving a purpose. And I probably burn 10,000 calories a day, give or take. So
yeah,
like, really, you need to just fuel the diesel engine. So,
yeah. Well, that's right. And yet it's not like you're racing it. You know, if you go and race a half marathon, you've got to be really careful, because if you have too much of that heavy food, like, you're just not going to feel good. But because you're out there for 3 days, you just go, I just can get anything in. I'm not going to be pushing the body to not pushing the body is not the right word, but I'm not going to be pushing the heart rate to build that lactic like I would on a short race, for example. And it's just get the fuel in to get it done.
Yeah, and even like I had in my head, because typically, like, if I was racing an event, I'm not going to sit up and eat a bowl of rice on the bike, right?
No.
But I did have in my head, if I wanted to do stuff like that, or I felt the need to eat like proper food or change it up, that I had that luxury. I wasn't, against the gun, like, time wise, and even different to last year where I did the Ironman in a day. You still feel the pressure of time to get it done while it's, not midnight. So the pressure was a bit different, and therefore it created this, I guess, an environment where I could probably have whatever I wanted to, but I also wanted to get the thing done. Like, I didn't want to take forever doing it. So, but yeah, the second day bike was, it was a nice surprise when you popped your head in and said g'day, and that was sort of almost like a good way just to summarize the vibe for day 2. Like, I had, people there first thing in the morning who probably clocked 30 Ks. And then in the afternoon had like one of our exec and some of the boys from the footy club come down and So yeah, I punched it in my phone what the numbers were, but it was like hundreds to 1,000 kilometers probably clocked up easily just by people coming and saying, yeah, I'll sit with you for an hour, I'll sit with you for 2 hours on the bike, and
Yeah.
just good vibes. Like it makes a huge difference. Honestly, like I think I watched maybe 5 minutes of KO and maybe 5 minutes of Spotify like tunes on the bike.
Far out. And then because you're really what was the bike? 10 hours, 9.5.
Yeah, 10 hours on the dot second day. Yeah, so average 28 K. So yeah,
to only watch 5 minutes.
oh man, it was Like I put up this video and it looks like the gym's completely empty, and I started laughing to myself. I was like, actually, I filmed that in probably one of the 3-minute blocks, and there was no one there. But 10 hours on the dot. Like I was hoping before somewhere between like 28 to 30 Ks an hour, and average bang on 28, which again nobody's looking at how long it takes you, right? But it's sort of nice comfort given the prep you've done. You want to do it in a good time too. So yeah.
You're probably going, oh, I just want to watch this basket game. just bugger off.
It was a bit like that on the second day. I was ready just to tap out and tune into some sport and see what was going on, but it was like the power of the whole point of it, other than showing people that you can just exercise and get moving, is the connection part. Like, and on the bike you can chat, right? So I had people that like honestly people I'd never met before who just sat there for an hour and talked about all the good stuff, some of the bad stuff in life, their connection to the cause, just like got to know a bunch of people, and then people who I've known for a long time who sat there and either talked absolute dribble or stuff going on in their life and stuff. So it's funny, like even though you're sitting on a stationary bike and you don't have that forward progress thing going on, people still want to get into it. So lots of conversations.
Well, funny, it's good segue. You said you met people, you chatted to people you hadn't met before, but although we're up to this is our fourth episode.
Yep.
We'd never met in person until I walked into the gym that day, and I remember you just looking at me like, oh, is that you? We've only seen each other through a screen, and it was funny.
Man, well, you just caught me off guard. Like I knew you were coming, but I don't think in that very moment I was expecting to see it. I was like, oh fuck, here we go, we're on. It was a very nice surprise. Yeah, it was good.
It was just funny, and then talking to other people, it goes, oh, how long have you known Ash? Oh, come on, I met him for the first time in person the other day. Quite funny.
It was a nice surprise, and then like other people who came down, and because you also get into this state of like I'm sure it's probably delirious, right? But there might be another better word for it. But like you sort of get into this rhythm, especially when you get into the run, where you're just like, oh, like not who are you, but like what? There were so many people coming down. I was just like, oh, I've lost track of names, and I've lost track of how many things, and I've lost track of just like real basic things that. Because I was just so locked in that I just was the rest of my mind was a bit cabbage, to be honest. So but it was lovely to have you there, and appreciate the huge effort to come down and get amongst it. It was
good. It was good to see you. But let's finish off that day. How'd you sleep Wednesday night?
That night I thought I would be absolutely lights out, and then I slept like absolute shit, to be honest. I've always like my mentality with triathlon just generally has always been like get out of the swim, that's one less challenge behind you. Get off the bike, that's one huge thing. Like having a mechanical or flat tires or having to fix stuff is probably not my greatest strength in life, let's say. So when you get those two things behind you, there's, for me anyway, there's a mental shift of it's just you versus your mind now. And so I think once I got to the end of day 2 and I had dinner and I was having a play with the kids that night and just chilling out, I think I was like switched off. But then I felt like a kid on like Christmas Eve, where just I think I probably woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning and I was just super hyped. I wasn't like anxious, but I was just like super excited. And I thought, oh, I could just lay in bed and for another hour or whatever. But I just said, oh, stuff it. I'll get up, I'll get moving, like just see how the body's feeling, and had brekkie and everything. It wasn't until after the fact, like a couple of days after the challenge, that I realized I didn't even do like really any stretching or cool downs or warm ups or activations or any of that stuff throughout the 3 days. Yeah. It was literally bed, wake up, just walk around the house. And like when you've got a 2 and a 5-year-old, you've sort of just got to get on with life, right? You don't really have the choice. I'm just going to go do 45 minutes of mobility work and you're so knackered or whatever. So I woke up really early and then I was just super pumped and ready to go. So, so then for the run, which was 84.4 Ks, I got to the track. Like I thought I'd get there, and a few of the other guys. I knew a few people were coming down to run the start of it with me, and I thought I might be on time at best, maybe a few minutes late, and there'd be a few there. But because I'd woken up so early, I was first one there. And speaking about meeting people for the first time, a couple of the boys who I've played fantasy footy with now, so we've never met in person, but they rocked up for the start of the run, and it's meeting people for the first time. Like something actually made it out of the group chat with a group of lads and came for a run, and
that's awesome.
It was bloody awesome. That's what it was about. So and then we got into the run, and I think I might have said to you, but I was throwing around a few different ideas for day 3, because the longest run I'd ever done before was 44 Ks, and I did Great Ocean Road Marathon, probably 2019, I think I might have done that.
Yeah.
And so part of me was thinking, do I just want to run around the track and do 220 odd laps or so, or do I want to run somewhere else and then finish at the track? And so in my head, I thought, well, the whole point of this thing for me, other than connecting people and getting people moving and talking, is like it's intentionally meant to be really hard. Like it's meant to be not representative of, but it's meant to show the fact that people struggle and go through lots in life, and if they can go through that, then I can go through this self-imposed pain to hopefully create a conversation and create change. And so I said, I'll do it all at the track. And I just said it and didn't really think much more about it. But then that morning when I rocked up at the track and I saw the track that I really hadn't run on since last year, and last year mentally it was a long time doing it solo, and I thought, bloody hell, we're back here again and I've got to do twice as long. But so I knew I was up for about 200 to 230-ish laps, depending on the lap I went. And
sorry, fuck you, Tony.
No, you're right. I felt like the first half marathon was going to be really easy because there's lots of people going to be there, and like I had that surge of, similar to the pool, I could have that surge of energy. And I was pretty much bang on. Like if I'm like, just to pump my own tires there for a sec, like the first half marathon felt elite. Like just cruising, beautiful temperature, sun was just waking up and all that. And then from the 21K mark to the 40K mark was sort of the next block I'd put in my mind. And I was pretty good until the first marathon, like the end of the first marathon. Like my ultimate goal was if I could do the first marathon split in 5 hours, I'd be stoked, because in my head I thought, well, even if I walk the whole second marathon for injury or some other reason, I can do that and it won't be too late. And so I felt like I'd broken the back of it nice and early. Our man Rogues came and had a run with me in the morning. He was on our first guest on the pod. And then after the first marathon, it got to about 60 Ks. It was pretty slow going in that like third half marathon. Like I stopped and had some proper food, and the sun was really starting to crank a bit at that point, and there was a little window, not long, but probably, let's just say 10 minutes maybe, where there almost wasn't someone for about 10 minutes on the track with me, like mum and dad and my wife or Kirsten were walking around, but that was probably the only little block where there wasn't somebody else. And then all of a sudden the lunch crew arrived and it was like, we're on again. And so that third half marathon, there's like, run a few laps, walk a few laps, or run a lap, walk one, run two, walk one. There's all sorts of combinations going on there. And like I'd got to that point where I'd stopped, like I hadn't really eaten any gels since the first marathon. I had some real food, and then I was just sort of putting in whatever I wanted at that point. Like I was having some Coke, having some ginger beer, having a Zupa Duper. I had like a wet cold towel thing around my neck. So it was a little bit of just get through the heat of the day for that third half. And then there were pretty much the last 15 to 20, which you were obviously there for as well. And then a bunch of the guys from the Belconnen Magpies, the footy club where I volunteered, they came down, and it was really nice. Like the end of it is obviously one of the main memories that sticks with you. But I can vividly remember, I've never really done a lot of whole like group running other than I do a lot of stuff by myself, but the guys sort of form this pack behind me, and it just gives you this little push along. Like you want to, or you need to run a bit faster, but also, like I got this flying V image in my head of us collectively like pushing, and it just, again, just new people like talking absolute shit, talking, getting into some good life chat. So there's a bit of everything on that last day, but it was still bloody hard. Like doing a double marathon was like there was a bit of walking in the back half of it, but again, nobody's looking at the time saying, "Oh, you took 11 hours and 30 minutes or whatever it took." I was hoping it would take somewhere between 10 and 12 hours, but I think I ended up at 11 and a half. So I was pretty happy with that after 3 days. So, and then, I thought I'd be ready for it and desperate for a cold beer, but it didn't taste that good that afternoon.
You beat me to it because I put a can on the finish line. Someone handed you a can, and it was like a one sip, and it seriously looked like you were going to throw up.
Oh, it's and like I pretty much would drink anything. Like I love pretty much any beer, but I don't know if a hazy pale ale is my go-to after the first beer in 298 days. But it was. Yeah. I've had them since, and it's a bloody good beer. But I think my body was just like, okay, you've just put a shitload of caffeine in me. I'm full of carbohydrates. I've basically emptied the tank over 3 days, and mentally, like over the last year. So, yeah, I don't need this poison in my body, pretty much. But so yeah, that night, I thought that was sort of the moment where it all hit me. Where I think I had like a piece of pizza, veg. Like I fell asleep very, very early, and then woke up the next morning, and that was when the celebrations could really start because there was leftover pizza in the fridge. There was plenty of cold beers from lunchtime. It was fair game at that point. But yeah, like 3 days, honestly, like 3 days that I'll just never forget. Like just so many people that came down, wanted to be part of it. So many people donated to the cause. And just was like reminded by just like the power of like human spirit, right? Like, and I'm not talking about myself when I say that. Like I really mean like just there's this ripple effect in community where the power of one person talking or sharing or doing just becomes this catalyst for change that others do and see and talk and replicate or share or embody some of that behavior. And like I see it every day when I'm talking about November or when I post something about November, and it's always someone who you least expect it shoots you a message, or often like as ambassadors and people close to a cause, like you're the one doing the checking in and reminding, what the message is and the like. But when you receive that back or you feel that back, it's this really, it's genuinely like really overwhelming. And that was like how I felt about like my community and I mean like different parts of my community that like showed up to support me as much as support the cause through those couple of days. It was really special. Like even now, just talking about it makes me a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest. Like people want, probably I think there must have been 150 people across a couple of days who came and did stuff or helped me or just came down and gave you a high five and had a chat and stuff. I
think you said on the track that you felt, well, at the time you said, I think there was only 2 laps out of the 200 odd that there was no one there.
Yeah, like, something like that.
So the fact that you did it at the track, I know you're you didn't tell anyone last year, so you're probably a bit bored as fuck. But if you had started 40k away and then come and done the last part, I reckon you would have been on your own for a lot of it. So the fact that you did it at a track, people knew you were there, turn up, mate. There was just people coming in. Like I was there for the last probably 3 hours or so, and there's just people flowing in, going. Like it was cool to watch. So look, the power of one person. You're right. Like it does bring everyone together. It was unreal to watch. Like I was happy to be part of it, and it was just cool being there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like, and I think that was you're right. Like that part of the track is, if you say to people, it's like if you organise any sort of event or function, you're like, hey, we're going to be here. If you want to come, it's up to you. That's cool. We're not going to I'm going to be here for 12 hours ish. Come, go, whatever, right? And there's people that came 2 or 3 times. Like a couple of the boys from work came in the morning, came at lunch, came in the arvo. And that was as boring as it probably was. Like that was a huge benefit of it. You're bang on. Like if I did it around the lake or from home or wherever, it would have been a lot harder just even not seeing people and not having those conversations, but also like logistically planning food and support crew and stuff like that. So it's I've still got, that's now 3 marathons in 2 events that I've done on that track in the same pair. Well, I did it in 3 pairs. So this one I did in 3 pairs of shoes. So I wore the from the
that was going to be one of my questions. So yep. Beautiful.
So I started in the Mizuno Skywave 9, so the first shoe that we reviewed on the pod. I genuinely love that shoe. Like I think it's really, I don't know if underrated is the right word or just not maybe rated enough, but I wanted something that had heaps of cushion just to like help me. I wasn't trying to break any world records, so I used that for probably the first 30 to 40 Ks, and then I then put on, I thought for this middle-ish section, I was going to, in my head, I thought I'd put on a carbon shoe just to try and save the legs and give me a bit off the track. I must admit, I put a pair of Nike Zoom Fly 6s on, and I think you saw them, Scotty. They're the loudest, most obnoxious pair of shoes I've got, just covered in flames, but they look sick. Like I love them, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I probably wouldn't wear them for that event again. So then I took them off pretty quickly, and I put a pair of Super Blast 2s on, which honestly is probably my favorite shoe of all time. Like that shoe is just super comfortable. It's got heaps of cushion. Can do lots of pickup work if you want to. I'm probably due to get into the store and buy a new pair because I've gone through, as I said, I've done 3 marathons on the track in the one pair, plus I did Sydney Marathon in them. So I love them that much that I just keep absolutely ramming them into the ground. So
well, at least the Mizuno and that Super Blast, they're shoes that I'd say, mate, do what you did in it. But if you're not trying to set records, the carbon, anything carbon is just like, why?
Well, I think I was running with one of the girls from work, Kim. She's actually an elite runner. She placed at a lot of events, and she's done a lot of running around the world. And we were chatting about it. And I said, I was thinking about this, and she's like, I might, And I think we just maybe I reinforced my thinking with her and over a lap or 2, probably walking, mind you. And then I put them on, and I was like, this is a bad idea. But I have to say, in addition to shoes, so 2 times you gave me a whole bunch of gear, right? Normally I love their socks. Their socks are really good quality. But I wore them to start with, and then I changed to a pair of the most unsexy socks in the world.
In Gingy.
Yeah. I haven't got a single blister. I haven't got a single loose or bruised toenail. Like those things are, I know they're not the sexiest thing to look at, but far out, they're good socks.
They're inside a shoe. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Well, exactly right. Yeah. But more just the fact that you can go again. Like after Sydney Mara, I had 2 really battered up toes and nails from just getting absolutely smashed. But I basically had brand new feet still after the 84. So
Yeah,
something to be said about those socks, I reckon. Yeah.
right, that's good. Because look, I find that quite often if I'm getting really tired or unfit, I claw. So I
Yeah.
really claw into my shoe, and that's what gives me my black toenails
Yeah. I
rather
think
than
I'm
anything
similar.
else. But yeah, so if you're a bit more relaxed, you're not clawing through the shoe. But
Yeah.
so we covered off you've already covered off a couple of the things that I wanted to ask, which was about the first taste of beer, the shoes that you wore, mate. So we're looking forward to seeing what you want to do next year. But let's.
Well, yeah. I'm open to suggestions. So if anyone listens to this and goes, "I've got a stupid idea and I'd love someone to have a crack," I'm probably the guy.
That's dangerous.
But well, it's funny because like after I did it, so the Friday I did actually have a couple of beers, and I must say they tasted really bloody good. Like I had a couple of Ben Spokes, and then we went out to the pub and had a few beers. So it was really nice just to like even mentally just like chill out a bit. Like obviously beer helps you do that, but just like not be thinking, oh, I'm not drinking and all that stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, my immediate reaction was, okay, well, next year, like one of the things is ambassadors we speak openly about is like sometimes people think you've got to do more to have more impact, but in reality, it's typically the opposite, where you probably actually need to do less to try to do less to have the same impact. And because if you just keep doing more and more and more, you just burn yourself out trying to like move and inspire and do stuff. And like there is a limit, right? Like our bodies, like part of the message is like we have to look after ourselves. So doing stupid challenges one after the other is not always sustainable either. So I'm up for ideas. Like like genuinely, I don't know that I do. Like, well, I never say never, really, but with the right
thinking of your community and that last day, how you had so many people come in. Maybe you could just do something like that only is a couple of hours, and let's get 400, 500 people on the track, and we'll all run a half marathon. Like it's not even a massive distance, but getting 500 people there or something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Is like I've now led our work November team for several years, and I love doing that, and I'll still do that. But I think probably where my focus will go next year is making Mo in the Arena its own November team, so that it doesn't have to be just attached to my work. Where like you could join it, guys from the footy club could join, or guys and girls from the footy club could join it. Community, it could be a community activation rather than necessarily just a work style activation. So. Anyway, lots of time to think about that, and probably over a few beers over the silly season. So but not necessarily just to do more, but still want to have same impact. Yeah, so.
Mate, unbelievable. Mate, I think probably wrap it up very soon. I know you're a busy man. You've probably got to say hi to the kids before you duck out again. But mate, thanks for sharing all that. It was mate, from my side, it was unreal to see, unreal to be a part of, seeing all the people come in, seeing your family. I was disappointed with your beer at the end, but look, anyway, what can we say? What can we do? Well, I'll get back there in the new year, and we'll have a beer together. But mate, thank you very much, and we've got an exciting guest next week. So
looking forward to that.
We'll catch up again next week. So
awesome, Scotty. Thanks, man.
Have a great week, everyone, and peace out.
Shoes on deck, beer on ice, laced up clean, the vibe feels nice. Fuck you, Tony, said we wouldn't fly, now we running this.